Picture that little child on the playground, frozen in a moment that feels both familiar and unique. They grip their backpack like a lifebuoy, anxiously watching the whirlwind of laughter and chaos swirl around them. The other kids dart about, carefree and full of life, while this little one hovers at the edge, longing to dive into the fun. It's a silent struggle, filled with what ifs and maybes, held back by an invisible barrier that whispers, "Not today." Their heart races like a drum, pounding with a rhythm of hope and hesitation. Their palms are warm as if trying to warm the cold air separating them from the group. The allure of laughter and friendship calls out but feels like a distant melody. This child isn't a wallflower by choice, they're just tangled in their own web of insecurities. Being shy isn't about not wanting to connect, it's more like standing at the water's edge, yearning to jump in but fearing the splash. Hey everyone, welcome to Psychologist Jeep, the tiny corner of the internet for overthinkers, quiet souls, and the grown-up versions of shy children who still rehearse conversations in their heads before speaking. If you ever felt your heart race just from raising your hand in class, or you still carry that don't draw attention to your instinct into adulthood, this space is for you. Here, we don't shame the shy child inside you, we listen to it, understand it, and maybe even laugh with it. We peel back the layers of the human mind one soft, awkward, beautifully honest thought at a time. Before we dive deeper, take a moment to like, share, and comment. You'll be surprised how many people feel exactly the same. Now, let's not just stay on the sidelines. If you've ever found yourself in these very shoes or noticed someone else navigating that tricky path, I want to hear your stories. Where are you watching from, and what were your experiences with shyness? Share in the comments below. And once you've done that, buckle up as we dive deep into this tender topic because there's a wealth of insight waiting to be uncovered. And trust me, it's worth your time. Shyness, my friends, isn't merely a personality trait. It's like a wild animal lurking in the psyche. It's a unique cocktail of psychological and physiological responses to social interactions. And oh boy, can it feel intense. Think of the nervous system as a volume knob. Some kids have it cranked up a few notches. When the situation gets a little hairy or social, their body reacts as if an enormous bear was charging at them, even if it's just a group discussion in class. Talk about a case of mistaken identity. The intriguing part is that these shy kiddos desperately crave connection, often even more than their more boisterous friends. They dream of belongingness, of laughter, and of being the life of the party. But that elation is subdued by a sneaky fear lurking in the shadows. It's not that they lack the desire to join in. Nope. It's that their internal systems make stepping out feel like trying to lift a boulder, a Herculean effort for them. And here's the kicker, the playful paradox that life throws their way what they yearn for most, connection and freedom, simultaneously feels like a daunting task. It's almost as if the universe is pulling a cosmic joke, leaving them to wrestle with this contradiction. Isn't it curious how the very thing they crave also becomes the thing that makes them feel anxious? In their world, laughter can feel like a threat, an enigma they struggle to unravel. So, as we whirl through this journey of understanding shyness, remember that beneath those quiet exteriors hide stories of resilience, inner storms, and a profound sensitivity often overshadowed by the world's loud cacophony. They may be drawing back, but they hold within them a depth of experience, waiting for the right moment to leap beyond the playground edge. Understanding this can transform our perspective, allowing us to support and uplift the shy souls in our midst. Let's keep this conversation going and delve deeper into the hidden strengths that often lie behind those tender hearts. The tussle between heart and fear is a story as old as time. It shapes individuals in ways that linger for years, almost like a stubborn song stuck in your head. Psychologists have dived deep into shyness, uncovering its roots in both nature and nurture. Some kids come pre-packaged with sensitive temperaments, their nervous systems finely tuned like a high-end radio. Others pick up shyness from experiences that loom large in their tiny little worlds, teasing, feeling invisible, or growing up in places where a bold voice might as well be a foreign language. Now, let's clear the air. Shyness and introversion are not blood relatives. Introversion is all about energy. It's where you recharge your batteries. An introvert can find solace in solitude, turning into a hermit to rejuvenate. Shyness, though, that's a wily beast rooted in fear. Imagine an extroverted child, brimming with love for people and craving engagement, yet anchored down by anxiety like a massive stone tied to a balloon. They sit quietly in class, desperate to speak, but believing that the sunbeam spotlight is too hot to handle. This tension gives rise to a fragile self-image. Childhood is the canvas where we begin sketching out who we are in relation to others. For a shy kid, those sketches can turn into a jumbled mess. They may categorize themselves as the quiet one or the invisible one. What a tangled web. It's not the shyness that's the monster. It's the narrative taking shape in the child's mind. They begin to craft stories enveloped in silence, and therein lies the real danger. But wait, there's magic woven in that silence. Shy kids tend to become astute observers, like little mice with oversized ears. While the chatterboxes dash forward with blurting questions, the silent ones are actually soaking in the atmosphere. They notice the subtle flicker of emotions, the tiny shifts in body language, and even the comic pauses in conversation. Their muted presence provides them with a unique lens to see the world. Many of them grow up to be artists, writers, and thoughtful thinkers, transforming this inward richness into meaningful expression. Still, the struggle is real. Picture a classroom where raising a hand is akin to winning a gold medal. The praise flows freely to those who take the plunge, while the shy child, rich with ideas, remains under the radar. Gradually, they feel like ghosts in their own academic journey, not because they lack brilliance, but because fear puts a damper on their voice. That incredible inner depth gets tucked away like forgotten toys in a closet. And here's the kicker: how many groundbreaking ideas have fluttered away, never gracing the world because a timid hand stayed down? It's almost comical to think about, yet it's a harsh reality for many. This unspoken brilliance becomes the invisible ink of their lives. The classroom chatter can overshadow a lifetime of thoughts waiting to burst forth, ideas lost in the reservation of a child's heart, entertained but never expressed. At the end of the day, shyness sprouts from a mix of fear, self-identity, and personal experiences. It can be a wild roller coaster of confusion and potential, with thrills masked by anxiety. Yet, it's vital to recognize the beauty that often hides behind that silent facade. Shy kids are learning, observing, and evolving, waiting for the right moment to transform those whispers into shouts. What a world it could be if we all lent an ear to their hidden voices. Imagine the friendships that never blossomed because that shy child hovered in the background, too timid to say hello. It's a bittersweet thought, wrapped in both heartbreak and inspiration. The shy child holds a wealth of potential just waiting for the right moment to shine. Science has some insights into this phenomenon. Studies suggest that when children are surrounded by safety and understanding, their guardedness tends to fade. Think about it. Environments that push them to be louder and more boisterous often send them scuttling back into their shells. But when trusted adults display empathy and create gentle nudges instead of harsh demands, magic starts to happen. Suddenly, those children begin to feel seen. Slowly but surely, the invisible walls around their hearts start to crumble, like old paint peeling off a wall, revealing a vibrant layer beneath. Now, let's dig a little deeper. Why is shyness such a big deal beyond the playground clowning around? It's all about identity. Shy kids sometimes grow up with a heightened awareness of others' opinions, which can pave the way for incredible empathy. They seem to have a superpower and an uncanny ability to step into someone else's shoes. Yet, there's a flip side. They might become overly self-conscious, stuck on a mental merry-go-round, analyzing every conversation and worrying about blunders no one else even noticed. Underneath their quietness lies a profound truth about shyness. It's less about avoiding others and more about dodging the sting of rejection. At the core, shy children are yearning for belonging. They're waiting on that comforting message. You belong here, and you're enough just as you are. Until they receive that warm reassurance, they might tiptoe around, often holding back their true selves. But what if we flipped the narrative? What if shyness isn't a glitch to be fixed, but rather a unique way of being, complete with its strengths and challenges? Think about it, some of history's most thoughtful and creative minds were shy at some point. Their quiet reflections were not flaws, they served as the fertile ground for their depth and insight to flourish. However, we must acknowledge the reality. When left unchecked, shyness can evolve into hardened patterns that follow a person into adulthood. These individuals might find themselves struggling in job interviews, relationships, and various opportunities, not for lack of talent, but because that old whisper of fear keeps saying, "Don't risk it. Stay quiet." Understanding a shy child's psychology isn't just about helping in the moment. It's about steering the ship toward a brighter future. That's why empathy matters. It's crucial to our understanding. When we encounter a shy child, we're not just seeing someone who's quiet. We're witnessing a vibrant heart that beats loudly, a mind buzzing with thoughts, and a soul thirsty for connection. Recognizing this truth allows us to foster a world where their voices can flow freely. Someday, that child who once stood alone at the playground may step up before others, not as the loudest voice, but as one that resonates with authenticity and depth. After all, it's often the quiet ones who have the richest wells of wisdom to share. The shy child carries a unique blend of shadows and gifts, hovering in a space between silence and expression. They quickly learn that words aren't just sounds, they're like little power bombs packed with potential. When they do speak up, it's with the sort of clarity that turns heads. Each chosen word has purpose, and their thoughtful pauses aren't awkward. Oh no, their space is filled with meaning, waiting for the right moment to burst forth. Psychologists have a way of categorizing shyness, revealing it as a type of social anxiety resting on a spectrum. It's like a sensitive sensor picking up on judgment from friends and foes alike. Sure, this sensitivity could occasionally put a hiccup in a child's social plans. Who wants to miss out on a group project or lunch table chatter? But it also means these children become sharp observers of the world, catching the softness in a smile or the sting in a harsh remark. They navigate life like seasoned detectives on the case, always scanning for clues among their peers. But here's the kicker. Why do some shy kids bloom while others retreat into their shells? It's not all about the kid, it's about the world they live in. When a shy child gets just the right amount of encouragement, they begin to test their wings. A timid whisper in class today could turn into a confident hand raise tomorrow, possibly sparking a friendship the day after that. Each tiny triumph lays down another brick in a wall of self-esteem. In essence, they're building their very own fortress of bravery. On the flip side, a shy child who faces ridicule, pressure, or shame takes a step back instead. Their inner dialogue starts ringing loud and clear. See? I knew better than to speak up. It's like a vicious cycle, with their world of shyness tightening around them, reinforced by those outside influences. The truth is, many of us can relate. When kindness lights our path, we flourish. When we're met with judgment, we retreat. Shy kids just feel the effects on a much deeper level. Consider this inner landscape. Delicate as a flickering flame, it can either warm the heart or be snuffed out by a mere breath. But here's the truly powerful twist. Many shy children evolve into incredible adults, empathic leaders, thoughtful creators, and fiercely loyal friends. Their past struggles have turned them into compassionate champions, keenly aware of what it's like to feel invisible in a crowd. They evolve, endeavoring to ensure no one feels that isolation again. The former silent observer on the playground can become a proactive adult who sees that one person sitting alone, ready to reach out. And that kid who dreaded classroom participation might grow up to be the encouraging voice urging others to share their thoughts. Their resources of empathy, born from past experiences, propel them into a destiny where they're not just participants in life, but trailblazers making sure that every voice is not just heard but celebrated. Shyness isn't merely a weakness to shed like an old coat. It's more like a seed that, when cared for thoughtfully, can cultivate rich empathy. But let's be real, navigating through the intricacies of shyness isn't always a walk in the park. Shy kids often bring along a suitcase full of habits into adulthood, like overthinking conversations and biting their nails during job interviews. It's like these little companions never quite leave us, right? However, here's where psychology swoops in like a superhero with a bright cape. The human brain is surprisingly receptive to change. With just the right blend of gentle practice and supporting relationships, even those deep-rooted patterns can be altered. Research shows that shy kiddos followed varied life paths based on the environments they blossomed in. Some emerged as anxious adults, while others learned to embrace their natural quietude. The twist: it was never about their innate temperament, but rather how the world embraced them. This delightful discovery reminds us that shyness is not a life sentence. It's just a chapter in an epic saga. Each shy kid holds a glittering potential for bravery and connection. Sure, the road to growth can be slow and quiet, yet it's always open and waiting. At our core, aren't we all a bit like kids peeking onto a playground, ready to join in but worried about what others might think? Shyness just makes that universal longing to belong a bit more visible. So, how can we help nurture shy kids, or even ourselves, when we're feeling timid? Here's the kicker: it doesn't come from pushing them into the spotlight. It's all about crafting nurturing spaces that invite exploration rather than pressure. Think of gentle questions instead of demands. With a little encouragement in manageable bites, these children learn to trust both themselves and the world around them, one quiet moment at a time. For the grown-up shy kids riding life's roller coaster, the adventure is ongoing. It's about owning that quiet strength instead of wishing for a louder personality. Shyness can morph from a perceived prison to a thoughtful lens on the world. Embracing this perspective can transform those burdens into your unique gifts. Imagine nurturing a tiny flickering candle. Yes, the flame can be fragile, but with patience and care, it can radiate warmth and guidance. Let's hold on to this image. The shy child is like that delicate candle flame, longing for a chance to grow. The potential isn't in a blazing fire, but in having the opportunity to burn brightly. So for anyone who identifies with that shyness, know that quiet isn't the same as empty. The heart of a shy person resonates with empathy and depth that louder voices often miss. Eventually, shyness tends to mellow with time, but that inherent sensitivity lingers, a powerful gift. It allows us to see the unsung struggles of others because we've been there too. So, the next time you spot a shy kid or recognize that inner shy person within you, don't view their silence as a void. Recognize it as a world of possibilities just waiting to be explored.